I was very excited when the Houston Rockets drafted Amen Thompson to just come in and take over as his team's future point guard. I love what I saw from him in the OTE league as a hyper athlete who's very fast with the ball in his hands. I thought he could absolutely come in and run this position for this young team. I was so sure of this that I deemed it a mistake when this team signed Fred VanVleet in the same offseason after they just drafted this guy with their 5th pick. Why would you sign a point guard when you just drafted one to steal your young player's role? I actually made a whole video back then about why I believe this was a mistake because of VanVleet's inefficiencies and how he really largely didn't help this team's problems. But after seeing what VanVleet was for this young team, especially last season as a veteran leader, an offensive stabilizer, and a floor general, he really made me eat my words. I doubted VanVleet's impact, and I really was wrong about everything he would mean for this team. I was also wrong to conflate these players and their roles because they're not all the same. The sort of orchestrator and floor general role that VanVleet played for the team is very different to that of Amen's current role, and he really exists as more of a floating point guard. He exists in the Rockets offense in a very interesting way, and there are a number of different things that we'll get into now that cause him to really play an unorthodox version of the point guard position. He has strengths that really allow him to be successful as a on-ball scorer and creator, but also weaknesses that limit the time he has the ball in his hands. The first strength we can look at is his athleticism. He's absolutely one of the most athletic players in the league. How quickly he's able to move, how high he's able to jump is a little bit freaky and weird sometimes. We call Wemby the alien, but him and his brother's athleticism is a little bit extraterrestrial for themselves, honestly. And he has something I would describe as a 0 to 100 acceleration. He's able to reach top speeds so quickly, and how quickly he can reach these speeds without much ramp up is one of the most consistent ways he's able to get to the basket. On a play, defenders are really at his mercy until he decides to turn on the jets, and then they really have no chance and he's by them. On a play like this, he's changing speeds a couple times, and each time he does, it's like there's no ramp up, he's immediately going the same speed, and this sort of sporadicness with his movement is why he's so hard to handle. When it comes to a ball handling move that allows him to shake defenders, it is absolutely his crossover. He can get really low on this in the quick, intense physical burst he has when he crosses over, puts so much pressure on defenders. And again, it's another thing where he just leaves them in his rear view and he's gone after that. After he hits that cross, again, immense amount of pressure put on these defenders. They try their best to recover, but a lot of times they just can't. The last thing I would point to with this young Rocket, in terms of who he is as a physical force that gives him some success as a slasher, is definitely his strength. He shows a real ability to bump guys off the spot, gives himself some space to score down low, and most importantly, there's a real fearlessness with him in terms of inviting and creating contact. And a lot of times he has a real persistent dribble, getting into guys' bodies, and again, gives him a lot of space to be successful down low. This young player has some of the best rim pressure in the NBA, and he combines that with a really high IQ that allows him to use this rim pressure to make plays for his teammates. This looks like him using his blazing speed and decided drives to force defenses to rotate and react, where he can very quickly find shooters. He shows great intentionality with his drives, like he knows exactly what move he needs to make, like he knows exactly how the defense is going to react. And I think this showcases a level of IQ, and this is what I love to see from Amen in terms of being confident as a ball handler. Although Amen can be very effective, very, very effective when it comes to finding his way into the paint, he has some game limitations. And a couple of times this season, I've seen these game limitations cause him to have issues getting into the teeth of the defense. And sometimes it's kind of clear to me that this can kill his confidence. Oftentimes on this channel, I talk about how scoring versatility is maybe the most important aspect of scoring. If you're very predictable, this is professional basketball. Teams are smart enough to know how to neutralize you at times, and a proper diversification of your scoring is going to help you be more successful. The best scorers of all time are guys that can put the ball in the hoop in multiple different ways. And Amen is absolutely one of the most one-dimensional scorers that we have today. As we just went over, he can be very effective around the rim, but this is really where his scoring effectiveness stops. When he can't get all the way to the basket and teams load up, I've seen some attempts to take a mid-range. I've seen some attempts to shoot the floater, but it's so obvious he's so much less comfortable here. And this is where I was talking about before, where this lack of confidence starts to creep in. I'm sure he's even more aware of the one-dimensional nature of his bag than we are. And in specific, in the games versus the Bucks and the Spurs, I saw a lot of just unwillingness from him to be on the ball for really any extended period of time. He would dribble the ball off the court, give it to Sengun right away, dribble the ball off the court, hand it off to KD almost immediately, repeatedly in these games, and just had no interest in creating anything. He wants what's best for the team, I'm sure. So he knows he doesn't really have the skill set to consistently get into the teeth of the defense if they're loading up. Again, because of the scoring limitations, but also his handle is a little bit loose. He has the athleticism, the first step to get by people, but again, he doesn't have the ball under control as much as he should just yet, which can result in him losing the ball, tripping over himself. This hasn't been super consistent, but in games, when he is having trouble, it's clear his handle isn't as tight as it should be. And in these games, it was a little bit disappointing to see how uncomfortable he can be at times as this ball handler. And this is what can cause him to have a limited amount of time with the ball in his hands initiating. He spends a lot of his time off the ball, and his presence here really helps the team, but again, in some ways, it hurts it. Amen gets to play with one of the best playmakers in the game, and that's Alperen Sengun, who continues to get better and better, and teams continue to have to pay more and more attention to him, and his gravity in the post and in the pick and roll is just so great. In the post, he's one of the strongest players, can carve out space to score so often. In the pick and roll, as a pick and roll screener and playmaker, he just demands so much attention that the defense has to turn all of their eyes to him. And this is where Amen can really thrive as an off-ball scorer, really in a dunker spot. He camps and lurks on the baseline area, especially on the weak side so often. Because Sengun has such good vision, this has created one of the most consistent and frequent teammate connections in the league. Sengun to Amen is happening on countless plays, and because of Sengun's high gravity post scoring and pick and roll presence and Amen's athleticism, ability to get off the floor so quickly, it creates so many easy buckets and such good basketball for the Rockets. Amen can also find a ton of value on the offensive boards with his ability to get off the floor quickly again, and his relentlessness and intensity just as a hustle player overall. And he's one of the many players that helped the offensive rebounding of the Rockets to be among the best in the association. This future All-Star's hyper athleticism can really punish teams that are forced to really direct their attention and focus elsewhere. But again, because of his offensive limitations, he can sometimes be detrimental for this Rockets offense. Everyone knows that Amen's worst trait is definitely his shooting. In his career, he's in year 3, he's never shot above even 30% from the three-point line. And so far this season, he's in the early 20s. And teams know this, and they just completely ignore him. We saw a big issue with this in the first game of the season versus the Thunder. This, a lot of times, will cause issues for Kevin Durant, Sengun. And again, those are guys that demand so much attention. It's so easy just to double them because Amen is such a non-threat from long range. And this is one of the ways he can really take away from what the Rockets offense is trying to do. So yes, Amen has improvements to make as a player. No one is without flaw, but it's clear he's going to be a star, and he's been one of my favorite watches just 3 seasons into his career. He's of course one of the leading reasons the Rockets have been able to be at the top of their conference once again, having a resurgence as a top team in the league after they really took several seasons off from being deserving of that title. Amen is not a true pure point guard, and he should not and is not in that position. And although there have been some games where they've struggled offensively and felt the absence of Fred VanVleet, largely they've been able to make up for it. They are number 1 in points per game in the NBA this season, so maybe make up for it is a little bit of an understatement. I do want to see them have continued success or start to have more success against the top teams in the league. Teams like the Pistons, the Spurs, the Bucks, at times they struggled against. Those are the teams you're going to have to go through if you want to actually win a championship. So I will be on the lookout for that. But overall, they've been really good at creating their offense. Sengun is huge for a team without a pure point guard because of what he can do as a facilitating big man. The breakout of Rxkz has been maybe the biggest gift this season for Rockets fans and for the team's success because he is an amazing player. You looked at him a lot as well as Amen, but you also looked at Shepherd as a guy that could step up as a point guard. You were a little bit scared because of his lack of minutes and experience in the NBA, but he's been great. As a shooter, he's been elite. He's been insanely confident, and him continuing to build confidence is huge for the future. I love Rxkz, and I know Rxkz fans do too. They've been one of my favorite watches, as well as Amen, and I really just want to do this video to take a look into who he is for this team, who he's gonna be after I saw that VanVleet went down, and so far he's been great. Excited to see how he's gonna improve. I know he will. He has that work ethic. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed talking to me about who Amen Thompson has been so far this season. If you want more content like this, subscribe because I will be posting more throughout this season, videos like this. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. This has been Rxkz with Hoops Times 2. See you all next time. Peace out.